Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen. The monthly report for December-January was just released and gives a lot of insight into what the studios have been working on over the last few weeks and are now geared towards in February 2019. This is a summary and highlights of that report, focusing on the new info and what is coming next. Gameplay-wise, they've been fixing issues with VoIP and VoIP, comms, video streaming, and the group system, and have been working on deeper item sub-targeting, so we'll be able to target engines, power plants, and more much more easily, a whole range of items to destroy and target. There's ongoing work on turret improvements as well. Planning has already begun for the upcoming Alpha 3.5 release in lots of different ways, particularly in testing of the flight model. Improvements to ship combat systems continued via automated gimbals, HUD changes to support ping and scanning in different ways, and more features that are being exposed, and the vehicle XML to DataForge migration has begun as well. A vehicle gimbal aim assist feature is on its way to completion too. Further investigation was made into the issue of ship AI idling during mercenary and ECN missions. To ascertain whether or not it was AI or network related, the team could only reproduce it during ship AI missions in the live environment and encountered something close to it during a 20-player playtest. The one consistent factor was that it only seemed to occur when performance took a dip, so it was deemed not an AI issue and will be further investigated by the network team. Obviously, the AI going AFK basically is not ideal and does happen, and it looks to be a network issue with performance of servers when they get overloaded. An economy features team focused on adding new weapons to various shops around the verse. Shop inventories were set up for all the new locations. Tweaks to missions and the overall economy were also made to kind of move the game closer to the end economic goals of what they want to get in, and this can be seen with ship prices in the game. Ships are purchasable with Alpha UEC, but they are very, very expensive. In January, they began testing on a new formula that dynamically alters certain commodity parameters within the wider economy as well. So a new approach is also being taken towards vehicle components to help create interesting choices for players when in shops. The design was completed for a new nav marker rule set that makes how and when players see destination markers more intuitive. Rule sets were also created to add functionality to the quantum travel and service beacon systems to give players more options when traveling in a party and choosing a location for service beacon transport requests. Some environment and location stuff. They've begun working on Microtech and its landing zone New Babbage. In preparation, designs were trialed for the high-tech common elements. So this is sort of like being added to their asset library to be used in other locations as well, with lots of different edits, but they expand out these libraries so that they can build out the verse much more quickly. This included cabs, garages, and hangars in the all-new architectural style of high tech. These new sets will help the team build new Babbage and ensure the visual styles feel fresh and different and appropriate for that area. Recent improvements to the organic shaders and pipeline will improve the look of geology and planets. This update has been a long time in the making, and the team working on it is looking forward to giving all planet assets a visual upgrade. The team there is also currently moving from white box towards a release for both the Planet ArcCorp and its main landing zone, Area 18. Some necessary changes have been made to Area 18's original layout, mainly for performance reasons, but also to improve the general layout and city feel. The task of creating a planet-wide city that players can circumnavigate, which also blends well into the major landing zone, remains a constant challenge for them, but it's one that's apparently bearing impressive fruit. Progress has been good on improvements to the believability and read of ArcCorp as a city, with the space taking a huge visual step forward from when it was last seen. On Hurston and Lorville, now that the CBD, the Central Business District, has been added to the game, they are looking into the train lines that connect it to Tisa Spaceport. The majority of the level design team is currently focusing on ArcCorp and Area 18, with the hangar, shop, vendor, spaceport, and overall layout now finalised. They also gave the planet and its moons the design setup that it needs, begun an investigation into quantum travelling AI, and introduced a variety of new narcotics during the prototyping of a new mission from the new mission giver Twitch Pakiko. I'm not sure how to say her name, so let's go with that for now. Lighting looked at the small and medium-sized common elements for the player hangars and created different lighting variations for the rest stops, Lorville, and the Area 18 styles. These assets will also go into the library to be more widely used around the verse too. They've been developing ideas for the branding of street and food stalls in Area 18 and outlining the NPC archetypes needed to populate that city and general mission content. New mission props were created that focus on the illegal drug trade and surface relay kits. Ideas were floated for cockpit flare, and work began on ship sub-items, and they're now planning how to integrate those sub-items into game properly and into components. Though a lot of prop team stuff has now been moving on to ArcCorp and Area 18 now, so work on that will probably pause. Let's take a look at some ship stuff. The Origin 890 jump is being worked on, with grey box work done on the Atrium, Master Suite, Guest Suite, and Engineering deck. They also refined the exterior hull styling to try and move a few areas closer to the original concepts and make the overall ship feel less cartoony. The Anvil Carrack has progressed since it was last seen. It's currently in grey box, with the team tackling the feedback generated from discussions on Reverse the Verse, particularly the controversial landing gear changes and bridge layout. The Aegis Vanguard had some work done to it on its updates too, which will propagate to the Harbinger and Sentinel variants as well, with focus primarily on interior adjustments along with some quality of life fixes. Grey box is progressing nicely, so the team will be moving on to the exterior and tackling feedback points to ensure the base Warden model is properly prepared to accommodate the variants. With the 300 series, they are in the process of getting the damage and customization passes of the ship complete, finishing up detail work on various parts and finalizing the materials there. Hopefully I've remembered to put in a couple of pictures of the interior of the ship, because I thought it was pretty cool. I'm obviously not finished yet, but it's getting there. The Reliant variants have seen work too. Extra care has been taken with Defender to ensure it represents the overall Banu design aesthetic and can be built on in the future. The exterior is going through the grey box modelling process and is nearly complete. Afterwards, it will move on to interior grey box modelling. The VFX team have begun R&D work on the Tachyon Singe Cannon, a weapon type with faster than light projectiles, which will be interesting. I assume it will hit targets very easily once you fire at the target without having to lead them at all, although the automated gimbal system might make that a bit easier as well now. They are also implementing thruster damage effects in keeping with the new flight model plan for Alpha 3.5 and R&Ding how to use particle effects to help make Area 18's volumetrics more visually interesting. They've also worked on the new K-Hix rocket launcher, a handheld anti-vehicle rocket launcher with a unique tech style. I believe this Xi'an in Origin. The AI teams have been working on getting AI stable and converting all movement logic that ships use for the new IFCS system over. One of these things is giving AI gunships new tactical options and new behaviors that allow them to circle enemies and use their turrets to attack them from a distance constantly. They'll try and maintain that distance. They'll try and fly sensibly. They can easily modify this behavior to change things like optimal attack range and when to disengage targets. The flyby and breakaway tactics were also amended to make better use of the predicted hit positions and allow ships to better evaluate the environment to determine the optimal direction for evasion. Gunships will basically be more dangerous, and they will do some other things as well. They will try and fly by you and use their front-facing guns and missiles too. Fighter AI was updated to take full advantage of the new flight model as well. You want to be on the tails of fighters, whereas you want to be in the gunships, sort of like blind spots when you're fighting them. For FPS AI, they've been working on cover and pathfinding stuff to help enable AI to decide which cover location to use, when to shoot, when to relocate, when to hide, that sort of stuff. The perception system was expanded to handle damage recognition as well, so AI characters now have proper awareness of damage, so they know the exact location of the source and will behave accordingly. Tracking if a specific enemy they lost sight of is the source of the damage and updating the knowledge they have about them. They have developed additional tools for AI, allowing them to edit variables and get debug information much more easily too. Other animations and character stuff. So they've been working on mission givers, including Constantine Hurston and Twitch Pakiko. I have no idea if I'm saying that name right. And they are currently working on ship dealers to give players a salesman-like experience when buying vehicles in-game. They're also continuing to actualize the emotes that they shot at CitizenCon, trying to get those in-game. Polish was added to various NPCs throughout the verse with the aim to make them as realistic and believable as possible. They have been unifying all the armors and undersuits for the female playable characters too. The DNA facial customizer feature has seen a lot of work towards its 3.5 initial release. DNA is a major feature that affects the entire facial setup and pipeline for characters in the Star Citizen universe. This significant feature touches a lot of teams and, through a lot of dedicated collaborative work, is progressing very well apparently. The teams are currently updating mesh formats to support datasets required, wrapping up and fixing any bugs relating to GPU skinning, and updating all the attachments in-game with the markup required for DNA compatibility. This system has begun to roll out in the PU on NPC characters and is already yielding performance wins in their internal dev builds. Lots of cooperation and iteration between all DNA teams has resulted in a fun, intuitive interface that allows the player to easily create their own face for their player character. Moreover, they've updated a system that allows players' customized faces to be stored persistently in the database and the corresponding data packets to transfer efficiently over the network and then be applied to the correct avatar at runtime. Likewise, it allows all key NPCs, every shopkeeper, security guard, civilian, and eventually mission givers to have a unique face built internally by designers. While R&D on the DNA system was done using male faces, the face pool for females is being populated and is planned to come online at the same time. Audio guys have been working to improve the ship and cockpit experience in the new flight model with thruster improvements, better positional audio reaction points so you'll feel where you're getting shot from, you'll feel the power of each individual thruster, misfires and things, you'll actually be able to go, oh, it's on this thruster's misfiring, must have taken some damage. They have also been getting the sounds of each component, environment, turbulence, and how they interact with your soundscape all dialed in. We will hear lots of prop and debris work that have been done as well, with different sounds for materials. If an object is sort of hollow and rolling down the stairs, you will know that just from the sound. Footsteps for both male and female characters will differ from 3.5 onwards as well, so they've done work on that. Pedro Camacho has been working on music for the upcoming zones like Arc Corp and Area 18. I love Pedro's music. I'm very much looking forward to hearing it. Some engine stuff. So this sort of like goes over other bits and graphics and things like that and engine updates. There's been lots of data optimizations and compression stuff to lower bandwidth requirements and to get GPUs and CPUs as efficient as possible. Work's begun on HDR color grading and output on supported displays, with splat map support for planet terrain being added, as was an improved film grain and unified dithering. The development of planetary ground fog began, along with significant improvements to temporal sample anti-aliasing, TSAA. The physics engineers enabled joint limbs on driven ragdolls and fixed instabilities caused by a threshold in the solver. They also made the first steps in exposing the spatial grid structure for walking and exploring, and added physics support for planetary oceans. Improvements were made to crash handling, including various thread safe improvements to enable more robust handling of obscure crashes, and the addition of extra information into mini dumps to allow for better debugging of issues that occur. The graphics team focused on performance and memory saving bits. The performance gains mainly come from improvements to shadow culling and optimizations to video comms, especially on lower spec machines, though there are still some quality issues to still address. The largest memory saving came from fixing a particularly nasty bug in the mesh streaming code, which could result in all levels of detail loading for a mesh rather than just the ones needed. Other savings came from increasing the sharing textures used by various effects and improvements to the logic in which textures should be streamed in. Interestingly, now the game can run with as little as 400 megabytes of textures. On top of that, the team resurrected the water volume tech and have made it compatible with the zone system so it can be used on planets, space stations, and ships. Backend services have done a large portion of foundation work for their new Diffusion backend architecture. This includes continued breakup of the general instance manager into smaller, scalable services. The dedicated game server needs to communicate properly with the new services, so hooks and proper calls have been set up between them. They are also working out the sort of like efficiency tweaks for that system and fleshing it out as they go. And that's it for the monthly report this time. Please share your thoughts and opinions on what we discussed here and talked about in the comments below. Every month we have a Star Citizenship giveaway. For February, it's for a Cutlass Black and Star Citizen game package. All you need to do is be subscribed to the channel and comment on any of my videos made during the month. If you don't have a gaming PC yet, or you are upgrading, instead consider Shadow Cloud Gaming. They allow you to leverage the powers of the internet to stream a high-spec Windows 10 environment to any other PC, Mac, or device like a smartphone or tablet. It is working really well in Star Citizen's 3.4 branch, and be sure to use the code BoredGamer if you do decide to check it out to get a discount. Links below. This channel exists because of its community. If you wish to support the channel further, below there are links to Patreon, Subscribestar, and there's the YouTube channel memberships, literally the join button below this video. VIPs do get some exclusive stuff and early content as a thank you as well. If you have any feedback, suggestions, or just want to say hi, please drop a comment below or poke me on discord.gg/BoredGamer. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.